am Tato Cat. Welcome to my channel. Today we're playing Asphyxia. Previously, we met a new character. She seems to be best friends with the uppity chick who thinks she's holier than thou, or royaler than thou. And they got into a little tiff in our little group date that our evil teacher put us in. And now we are lost because we got distracted. And we learned that our main character is from the countryside, and she was once stranded in the woods, and that's kind of where we left off. And we're going to figure out what she does best, which I assume is panic, or self-destruction, or thinking about terrible, terrible things happening to her. Well, one of those things. Panic! Ah, I was right, give me a cookie. You guys... What is it? I don't know if you realize this yet, but, we're the only ones here. Oh. Roberta and Georgia instantly stopped arguing. Both of them turned to look at the other, their eyes slightly wider than usual. Isn't this a bit risque to be wearing to school? Just thinking out loud. Like Samantha, they began to survey their surroundings. The horizon was endless, stretching out in an unbroken expanse of trees and hills. But there were no people. Not for miles around. They really had been left behind. A cold breeze blew, disturbing Samantha's hair, and unbidden, she began to tremble. The sky was beginning to darken, and Samantha could see her shadow stretching behind her, growing longer, thinner, and more sinister with every passing second. I can't believe it. When we actually need to use your silly phone, it's out of power. This is like something from a bad horror movie. I'm sorry. Percy looked down at the floor, shamefaced, cupping the ground with the tip of her trainer. If I'd known we were going to get lost, I wouldn't have spoken with Harry so much on the bus. Curse that Harry! How to torment me even in your absence! If you weren't so enamored with that stupid simpering fop, we wouldn't be in this situation. We'd be able to call for help, and we wouldn't have to wait around in the poor godforsaken countryside, getting colder and colder with every second. Look. Oh, that is very unladylike, Georgia. With a sudden exclamation, Georgia spun around and kicked a nearby tree, hard. You're calling us a masochist. Samantha watched from a safe distance, impressed and ever so slightly terrified. She had no doubt that if that kick had come into contact with her, a few of her ribs would have been broken right now. Now she kicked you in the leg. Hey! Percy was a braver person than Samantha, however. At least when it came to the topic of her one true love. Don't blame Harry for this. He isn't stupid or simpering. I love him. Maybe you do right now, but that'll soon wear off. These feelings always do. That's such a cynical way of looking at life. Just because you feel that way, it doesn't mean I do. You don't want to hear the truth. I'm sorry. Let me correct my earlier statement. Georgia cleared her throat, then spoke thus. True love does exist, and you'll find your Prince Charming out there someday, and then you'll live happily ever after in a palace with mice to fix your clothes and do the laundry. Do you want me to confirm the existence of Santa and the Easter Bunny while I'm at it too? I can go on. Percy scowled, then rejoined snappishly, eyes narrowed. How are these two friends? They can't really be friends, can they? It's all well and good acting high and mighty, but I don't see you doing anything to help us. That's right. If you're so smart, Georgia, why don't you try to fix everything? Where's your phone? I dropped it in the swimming pool last Saturday. It's totally dead. Why did you even take your phone to the pool? Because she's not as smart as you think she would be. Georgia shrugged. I don't know, to show off to other girls on the swim team. I guess it was the latest model. And how much did that cost you? I don't want to say. It would only make you jealous, Bobby. I don't think you could ever afford such a luxury. Percy rolled her eyes. And you call me stupid? How are you even able to afford all the expensive things you break and lose? Your family isn't that rich. We're not, but you can get pretty far in life when you're literally a lady. Lady Byron sounds kind of cool, doesn't it? Like a mistress in a gothic novel. I've often thought I should be living in a mansion located in the moors with the cruel, overbearing tyrant of a father who abuses the servants and put upon maids, sobbing brokenly over their chastities in the hallways. What? That's the life you dream of? That's terrible. I don't like her. Can we not talk to her anymore? If there was one thing Georgia was proud of above all else, it was that title. Samantha had heard rumors that whenever Georgia went into Starbucks, she always stipulated that the barista had to write Lady Byron on her cup. Samantha thought this tasteless, but given Georgia was a lady in name only, with no money to back her up, she probably had to get her kicks where she could. And what about you two? Do you have your phones? I'm guessing Samantha does not. That's what I thought. I didn't bring it with me. I forgot. We did have a terrible morning. Well, I can't say that I'm surprised, not after you forgot to bring half your hair with you. My hopes weren't very high. We didn't forget to bring half our hair. We were cool and cut it off. Samantha brought a hand to her hair, frowning. Did it really look that bad? It looks a bit unruly, but I don't think it looks that bad, Samantha. And what about you, Bobby? You're supposed to be sensible, aren't you? Do you have your phone on you? Of course I do, unlike Sam. I'm not so scatterbrained that I'd leave it at home, and I wasn't clumsy enough to drop it in the swimming pool either, like some people. Oh, good job, Bobby. I could almost kiss you. Please don't. And don't call me Bobby either. We're not friends. Madam, you wound me. And yet, despite her protestations of the most horrible heartbreak, Georgia seemed to recover from being rebuffed incredibly quickly. Is Bob alright then? No, that's even worse. It was with a long-suffering sigh that Roberta extracted her phone from her pocket. It wasn't quite as sleek or shiny as Percy's, and was undoubtedly less expensive than Georgia's had been, R.I.P., but it was more capable of getting the job done. It's a good thing one of us has a functioning phone. You better thank me for this, Georgia. Not that I'm doing this for you. Oh, come off. Why are you trying to guilt-trip me because you're a bitch? I think you deserve to feel guilty every once in a while. It'll work wonders for that ego of yours. Please, Georgia snorted. I feel no guilt ever. You're even more egotistical than I am, Bobby. You just hide about her behind that old lady fake hate of yours. Old lady? That's right. You're just like Lillian. You're both so stuffy. Arrogant, too. Arrogant? She's calling her arrogant? I am nothing like Lillian. Yes, you are. You definitely are. What was it the pair of you said when we were running to be the student council? That you were going to do your best to represent the student body to stand up for us when we were being unfairly persecuted? You wanted to keep a bear in your room, you cretin. Of course we were going to refuse. But the student handbook only specified we weren't allowed to keep cats or dogs and didn't say anything about bears. That's because we assumed wrongly, it seems, that nobody would be stupid enough to assume those rules did not logically extend to bears. My, somebody's touchy. I'm touchy because I'm trying to concentrate and your antagonism is not helping. Concentrate? How hard could it be to find a phone number? You did save Miss Pope's number onto your phone, didn't you? Of course I did. having trouble locating it, however, because you are distracting me. Is her phone going to die in the middle of this argument? Then hand your phone over here. I'll call for you. Don't do it. She's going to drop it and it'll break. What? Hey, what are you doing? Leave me alone. Roberta protested, but alas, her cries fell on deaf ears. Swooping in like a bat, her black hair tumbling about her shoulders, Georgia fished Roberta's phone out of her hand in a matter of milliseconds. Oh, now this is interesting. I wonder what you have saved in here. Now is not the time, Georgia. Find the number and call it. Maybe I should take a look through your photo gallery. What have you been snapping photos of, Bobby, you naughty girl? I have not been snapping photos of anything, Byron. You... Yes? What am I? You ingrate! Roberta snapped, her face twisted with fury. Now, give that back. That's personal. Personal, huh? I wonder just how many personal things do you have stored on here? They're going to break the phone, aren't they? They're going to break the phone. Now, this is interesting. Georgia giggled wickedly. Her sharp incisors glinting. Who is Edmund? And why have you sent each other so many texts? Don't read through my text like that. You have no right. Give it back. Georgia, this is really too much. You shouldn't steal a girl's phone like that. But why? Bobby deserves it. She's always so uptight, you know. I can't help but want to tease her when the opportunity arises. If I am uptight, it's because I have to spend so much time with you. You always try to provoke me. Only because I always get a reaction. You mustn't be very smart, Bobby, if you don't even know that. Don't try to blame it on me. This is all your fault. Can you two set your differences aside for once? We need that phone. It's the only way we can call for help. Look at us being the voice of reason. That's bad. If we are the voice of reason, not so great, ladies. Oh, are you getting worried, Sam? I bet you wish Lily were here to hold your hand, right? Samantha, flushed and abashed, took a step back. Lillian has nothing to do with this. I don't want to talk about her. Because she hung you out to dry too, huh? Just like she did with Percy. For all she spoke about caring for her fellow classmates, she didn't make much of an effort to fulfill her lofty promises. This has nothing to do with Lillian, or Persephone, or the student council. Give me my phone back right now. What if I don't want to give it back? What if I don't want to freeze to death in the middle of the countryside? Hand it over. Please, come on, Georgia. This is childish, even for you. I don't want to be wandering around here when it gets dark. It's more dangerous out here than you may think. Don't act so serious, you guys. I'll give it back soon. First, though, Bobby, you have to apologize. Apologize? For what? For being such a sycophant who can never keep her word. Then maybe I'll think about it. You really are impossible. Of all the nerve. Really? I think you're the one being impossible, Bobby. Stop calling me Bobby. My name is not Bobby. Now give me my phone back this instant. Roberta reached forward, trying to snatch her phone from Georgia's hand. Georgia stepped backwards, trying to hold the phone out of Roberta's reach. A move doomed to failure, really, given Georgia was quite a bit shorter than Roberta was. Roberta's hand collided with Georgia's. If they had been actors in a movie, that moment of impact would have been shot in a close-up in slow motion. No! Roberta could only watch, her eyes wide in horror as her phone flew out of Georgia's grasp. Percy darted forward in a well-meaning attempt to catch it, but was unsuccessful. Percy had always been dreadful at sports. That was the main reason why she had been bullied so terribly in her PE class. She couldn't catch a ball to save her life, and she had no hope of catching Roberta's errant phone either. Yep. Knew they were going to break the phone. Either the battery was going to die while they're arguing, or they were going to fight over and break the phone. Knew it. The phone hit the ground hard, but not with a thud as one might have expected. Instead, it landed with an unpleasant squelch. It was a similar kind of sound that was made when a shoe sunk into mud. All four girls looked down at the ground in almost perfect unison. There lay Roberta's phone, the extension of Roberta's soul, verifying a link back to the civilization, the only sign of the 21st century for miles around. It was resting neatly, almost as though it had been preordained by some greater being. Oh, right in the center of a large dark brown cow pat. So it didn't even break. It's just gross now. Roberta's expression twisted. She groaned. Then, thoroughly defeated, she said, "Oh, for fuck's sake." Roberta was kneeling down on the ground trying to clean the manure off her phone by wiping it against the grass. She had been doing so for the last 10 minutes, but the dirt didn't seem to be shifting. Perhaps if Roberta hadn't been holding her phone pinched between her thumb and forefinger as though it was something diseased, the process would have been a lot quicker, but Roberta had no desire of getting her fingers dirty. Percy hovered by Roberta's side, her expression anxious. "Do you think this is going to work? I have no idea. This is somewhat beyond my area of expertise. So I guess even the great Roberta Southie doesn't know everything." "Shut up, Georgia. No one likes you. Not even your friend likes you." Roberta rose to her feet and glared at Georgia, her face a picture of rage. "You know what, Georgia? Why don't you just shut up? None of this would even be happening if it weren't for you." I don't know about that. Are you sure? Yes, because this is exactly what happened. You decided to be a dick to your friend, which distracted everybody. So our whole class walked away while you're being an asshole, and then you decided to continue to be an asshole and had a fight with her over the phone, and then dropped the phone. Thus, all your fault. Ugh. "Yes, I'm sure. Can you take responsibility for your actions?" "No." "I could if you insist, Bobby, but..." Georgia pouted. "Responsibility is such a boring word." You too. What? Do you have anything particularly insightful that you would care to add to this conversation, Sam? Well... Alarmed, Samantha took a smart step back. She'd never seen Roberta look so angry before. "I thought maybe it'd be best if we didn't argue, that's all. We can assign blame later, but for this moment, that isn't going to get us anywhere." "Sam's right, Bobby. It's all swings and roundabouts, you know?" "And what the hell does that mean?" "Instead of standing around here pointing fingers, we should be doing something productive. Isn't it the mature adult thing to do? Now you look here, Lady Byron. How can you, of all people, stand there and give me that advice when this is your fault?" "Oh dear me," Georgia tutted. "Trying to find who's at fault, who isn't at fault is so very childish. I expected better of you, Bobby. I don't need to try to find who's at fault. It's you. You're the one who's at fault. There's no question about it." "Oh my, trying to vent your frustrations on poor innocent old me. I suppose if I must be the sacrificial lamb to keep this party spirit high, I don't mind. Cut me open and feast on my flesh, if you will, and I hope you choke on your guilt later." Georgia, I don't think you're helping. You really ought to learn how to own up to your own mistakes." Percy tried to interject, but it was all in vain. Georgia didn't listen to her. Georgia didn't listen to anyone. "The only one who should be feeling guilty here is you. Stop trying to act like a martyr, you shameless demon." "Oh?" Georgia smirked. "So now you're saying I'm evil incarnate? I'm happy you think so highly of me, Bobby." "Indeed, I do believe you're the most egotistical, self-centered, selfish, unrepentant swine I've ever had the misfortune to meet." "Alright, that's enough. I'm tired of listening to you two argue. Why don't we try to get along just for the moment?" We waited here long enough, and I doubt anybody's going to come back and find us. So we may as well start searching by ourselves. But we don't know where the youth hostel is. And we don't have a map. We might just get even more lost. We might, but that's probably better than talking in circles, don't you think? Well, since somebody broke my phone, this may be the only recourse we have. At least walking will do us some good. I'm so cold I can't feel my toes. Alright, fine. I wanted to stretch my legs anyway. I was getting so bored standing around in the same place. Let's get going. I'll try to be on my best behavior, but... Georgia grinned. I can't make any promises. Great, we're just walking around in circles, aren't we? This tree really does look familiar. That was the fourth time Percy had made this observation. Samantha knew this for a fact, as she had been counting. Grrr. Roberta ground her teeth together. A vein in her forehead was throbbing. Samantha looked her friend askance. Her brow creased in concern. You don't have a headache, do you? Isn't that to be expected given the circumstances? I know. Samantha relented in her inquiry, then sighed. It was a stupid question. I'm sorry. I was just trying to make conversation. I hope you'll forgive me, Sam, when I say I'm not in the mood to converse right now. Yes, of course. I'll be quiet. Roberta had been trying hard, very hard, to keep her temper under control the last hour, but had been boiling way underneath her strained expression all the same, like lava inside a volcano. Roberta hated being lost, and she hated being disoriented, and she really hated being confused. These were simply not Roberta-esque states of being. Roberta was a thorough girl, who enjoyed bringing order to disorderly things, which was, Samantha often pondered, the main reason Roberta deigned to be her friend. Roberta liked planning things, and she liked making schedules, and above all else, she liked keeping to them. This school trip, unfortunately, had been nothing short of a disaster. Everything that could have gone wrong had gone wrong, and it was driving Roberta crazy. The pressure was building. With just the slightest provocation, she was going to snap. And the poor soul who unwittingly provided said provocation just so happened to be not Georgia, but Samantha. Oh no, we said the L word. I wish Lily was here. Samantha had not meant to say it out loud. Instead, she muttered it under her breath, more to herself than anyone else. After their numerous arguments on the subject of Miss Lillian Wordsworth, Samantha knew better than to bring her name up around Roberta, particularly when Roberta was in a foul mood. Samantha might have been masochistic, but she wasn't stupid. Far from it, in fact. Her intentions, however, were irrelevant. She had to let this small prayer slip from her lips regardless, and Roberta seized upon it. Excuse me, Samantha? Oh. Samantha turned trembling and saw that Roberta had ceased to walk. Oh, fantastic. Their walking was probably pointless anyway, given they seemed to have been going around in circles, but this sudden cessation of movement, of breaking the status quo, seemed to signify something unsettling. Bobby? Samantha's heart convulsed, as though it had sensed danger, and now meant to eject itself from her chest in a form of self-defeating form of self-defense. Samantha swallowed, her heart still thudding, then dared to utter, Are you alright? I believe you've already asked me, Samantha, and my answer now is much the same as it was before. I am not alright. In fact, I'm the exact opposite of alright. I've been doing my very best to remain calm despite our adverse circumstances. This is nothing new to me. I'm only too familiar with forever being the responsible one. When we're together, I always have to act the calm, mature one while you are afforded the luxury of whining and complaining. However, Samantha gulped. She didn't like the sound of that however. However, much like their close cousins, the buts, and the becauses, never herald pleasant news. I've had enough of you. All you seem capable of is relying on other people. You can't do anything on your own. Why are you even thinking about Lillian anyway? I thought she stopped being friends with you. Don't you remember that? I know I do. You were crying for weeks afterwards, and I was the one who had to hear it. I was the one who had to deal with it. I've always been there for you. Whenever you go through one of your maudlin turns or manic episodes. No matter how late it is or how inconvenient, I'm always there to listen to your worries. Responsible, reliable Roberta. Well, now I see I'm also irrelevant Roberta. Even though I put so much effort into our friendship, you still don't appreciate it. You never think about me. All you think about is her. If Lillian ever did apologize to you, you'd drop our friendship in a heartbeat. You're so fickle, Sam, and selfish too. I'm just somebody convenient you can turn to for help, but you don't value me. Not really. It's like you don't even realize I have feelings too. Well, I'm through with it. I'm tired of babysitting you. If you want to be hurt by Lillian, then go ahead, be my guest. But don't come crawling to me when it all inevitably goes wrong. Samantha stared at Roberta, her eyes wide, struck dumb. For a girl so very gifted in the art of arranging words in accessible, intelligent ways, her exam results said as much. She couldn't say a word. How could she respond to that? Every single one of Roberta's barbed comments hit home, tipped with an exquisite kind of poison which burnt a hole through Samantha's already damaged ego. Although that barrage of insults had come out in a mad rush, expelled from Roberta's mouth, as though it was something disgusting and shameful, had been too clearly articulated to have been born from a momentary burst of anger. Roberta did not do spur of the moment. Not even now, as she stood there, hair windswept, face flushed with rage, her fingers clenched into fists. Oh, wow. This is so dramatic. It's so, soap opera-y. Love it. Alright, we'll see what happens in the next episode. I'm Tato Cat. If you haven't already, comment, and subscribe. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon.